All right, welcome back. If war broke out, would the U.S. Navy be ready? A new report commissioned by a group of conservative lawmakers, including Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, is raising some serious concerns. The report alleges that the Navy doesn't focus enough on warfighting or training or ship maintenance and has a problematic culture of micromanagement and even a wokeness issue as well. Cotton pressed Biden's nominee for Secretary of the Navy, Carlos Del Toro, about this during his confirmation hearing yesterday.
The Navy promotes skills at office chores instead of operational excellence, and that this crushing bureaucratic load too often chases out good officers and NCOs. Once confirmed, can I get your commitment, Mr. Del Toro, to take a look at this challenge?
I will confirm to actually look at all the administrative burdens that our surface Navy has to contend with and ensure that their primary focus is based on warfighting, training, and skills.
All right, so is it true? Is the Navy more I mean, we've seen the wokeness stuff. We've seen it all come out, some of the ridiculous things we've seen, what they want them to read. Is the Navy focused more on getting woke and less on how to actually fight? Here to discuss this further is Paul Chabot, commander in the U.S. Naval Reserve, as well as president of militaryvetmove.com. And Paul, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
You bet. Thanks for having me. I think it's an important segment, and all of America needs to be aware of where we are as a fighting force.
Yeah. Have you experienced any of this as a reserve officer?
Yeah. So I can't speak, to that directly. I can't speak as a military veteran, obviously, in no official capacity. But what I'd like to speak to you about is that veteran who works with our veterans across this country through Military Vet Move, and also just a patriot, a father, 4 kids. I spent 20 years in the Navy, active duty, tour in Iraq. And being in the reserves allows me the freedom now as a civilian to raise concerns. Look, I love the Navy, I love the military, and I love our country. But I'm concerned, and I'll tell you this, I'm also retired law enforcement. And I think one of the biggest things we need to hit on is when you saw the protests against law enforcement across this country, what happened? There was a loss of law enforcement, hard time recruiting, hard time retaining. We're going to have the same problem in the military if we go down this very dangerous social experiment road. I see it coming, and I do applaud Senator Cotton for raising this concern. And that report, I'll tell you, names a lot of very important items. I'd just like to mention this. Think about this. China is our biggest adversary by far, farly outgrowing the U.S. and potentially our capabilities one day. Yeah. Every single minute that a soldier, sailor, or airman is spent on critical race theory or this sort of crazy hatred that they think we have is one less minute that we have preparing to fight the wars to save our country.
Hey, what about the books? We've heard the stories about books, the recommended reading that's been coming out from the military. You've seen these stories. What happened? How did that even come about? How did we change so dramatically so fast?
I don't know. I've been involved in politics for quite some time. I ran for Congress in California, worked in the White House. You know how it goes. There's a political change that happened with this last cycle. And we saw everything go so far to the left so fast, which is why as an American and a patriot, the midterm elections coming up are so important for this country. That way the Republicans can have control of the Senate and the House and can begin to have hearings to address these concerns. Look, all of us in the military, it's just shocking that there is this talk that somehow we are against one another because of race or that there's this internal racism. It's not the case. In fact, the military is the example of how we work together, regardless of color, all wearing a uniform. And it's very disheartening to see those kind of context conversations happening today. And I'm glad to see senators and congressmen standing up and pushing back. We need to for our great country.
Yeah, we certainly do. Paul Chabot, commander in the U.S. Naval Reserve, as well as president of militaryvetmove.com. Sir, thank you so much for the time.
God bless. Thank you.
All right. If athletes hold a woke